Regis, can we start with this speculation at the moment? It seems to be, by all accounts, a done deal for Enzo Nafiki from Roma. What can you tell us?
Speculations are speculations. Yeah, I can't say anything right now because it's not done.
You previously had him at Lorient.
Yeah.
Could you talk about him in respect of what sort of player he is or was in those terms?
Yes, about this market in particular, we spoke a lot about opportunities we could have, and the targets are probably still the same. We would like to have a player who knows the system and who used to play in this game model, and connected with specific identity. And I think this player could suit with that, but I can repeat, it's not done, so we'll see. And it's still a market made with many opportunities. Sometimes it's possible, sometimes it's not possible. We'll see at the end.
Where was his favourite position when you played him? It looks as though he can play across the middle.
Yeah, he used to play as a 10, as a 8, and sometimes as a 6 in the 4-4-2 or in the 4-3-3. Yeah.
And if it were done, speculating, would you hope it could be done in time for the cup game this weekend?
We don't know. We don't know.
Okay. Well, fingers crossed then on that one. In terms of injuries, you've spoken in the last couple of weeks about the 2 or 3 players who may make the weekend. Are you still on course? Salis, Rig, Ballard to feature?
Yes, Salis and Rigi will be available for this fixture. Ballard will be too soon, probably one week more. And I think Ahmed could be available. We'll see, because it was a long injury, but could be available for that fixture as well.
I'll come back to the cup in just a moment, but in terms of players coming out as well, talk that maybe Harrison Jones may go out on loan to Gateshead. Is it likely that the likes of Harrison and Zach Johnson, a few of those may leave?
Yes, it's a possibility, because at the end of this transfer window, we have to find the right balance between, on one side, the team and the depth of the squad for the games, but for the training session as well, because it's very important to train properly, and they are very useful for that, and because of their mindset, they are really connected with the club. They are very important for that, and for their own pathway as well, because it's still important to find the right balance. So we'll see at the end of the transfer window, but it's an option for them. Yeah.
And this week, I mean, you mentioned after the game of the weekend, 5 games in 15 days, and it sort of took its toll to a degree. How's this week been in terms of players sort of recovering from that heavy schedule, which was a heavy schedule?
Yeah, it's true, and they did well. I was really impressed by the output at the end. They had 2 days off, and then we trained properly for 3 sessions, yesterday and today, and 1 more tomorrow. So it was 2 good sessions, and we are ready to play again.
And it's the cup. I mean, you've got a balancing act, have you, to play this weekend in terms of you want to win the game, you want to go through. Do you rest a few players? Do you play a strong team? There's a financial equation added to it as well, because there's quite a lot of money at stake in terms of going through and potentially who you could draw in the next round.
Yes, the first idea is to reinforce the dynamic rather than recovering, because we had a full week before that game, and we'll have more or less a full week before the next fixture against Burnley. So it's not a question of recovery right now. If it could be, we could have a couple of changes, but we'll keep the main dynamic around the team, because we want to win. It's like a knockout game, and it's a different mindset, but we want to feed that dynamic rather than to change everything.
Do you see that as important in terms of momentum as well, that when you got into your stride again now, you're winning games, you don't really want to disrupt that, you want to try and keep that momentum going because it will take it into the Burnley game?
Yeah, that's true, and I said it after the previous game. I think it's so difficult to build a strong dynamic when you can keep it. You have to feed it rather than to change everything. So it's still useful for 1, 2, or 3 players because they are important for the team, and if they can have game time, it's still better. But we'll see. And the most important thing is to win again.
Stoke seemingly doing their best to keep you guessing as to how they're going to play, because it will be a third head coach in the 3 games that you've played them, which is extraordinary.
Yeah, we know the players, but we don't know how they will play. So we'll see, and it's an advantage because we know their main threat, but we don't know how they will play specifically in that game. And this is football because you can play, I think, 5, 6, 7 times with the same team, but it won't be the same game because the scenario is different. Because many things can happen, and it's 1-1 now. So I think we will find a winner at the end of the game because we need to find a winner in FA Cup.
As you say, it's 1-1, but are you minded to think that the defeat at Stoke, that late goal was a choker, because I think you had the chances. It was a game that you can look back on and feel you should never have lost that.
Yeah, that's true. But at the end, it was 1-0, and we didn't score, and we created many chances. It was clear, but I think it was possible to score against us during the game as well. We made some unusual mistakes, and it's still useful to remind that we have to defend really properly to protect our goals. And I think we created chances, but we were a little bit imbalanced as well. So it was a reminder after that game that okay, we can create chances and we can feel that we are in a really good place in the game. But if the opponent can feel that they have opportunities to score, for their confidence is better. I think it was the case during that game.
And in terms of Mark Robins coming in, always obviously going to be difficult to try and second guess what he's going to do. Would you work on the basis that he will probably feel a strong team as well, because he's getting to know his team? He's likewise trying to build momentum as well.
Yeah, sure. Probably when you start with a new team, you want to build strong foundations, and it always starts with a strong defense. And then he had many good players, and they can play good football. They can threaten the space in behind. For example, with Tom Cannon is a really good player, but he's not the only one. And we'll see. But let's play our football, keep pushing, keep moving forward with our ideas, and we'll see.
And the FA Cup, what does it mean for you coming to this country? Because for a lot of people, it may be tarnished, the reputation of it, but for a lot of fans, it seems to divide opinion, but a lot of fans still see it as the competition they want to go further in, the history that Sunderland have in the competition. It's still regarded emotionally as something to be involved in.
Yeah, it's still important, and for the dynamic, for the players, for the fans, for the history as well. I think this competition is very important, and we will play that game at 100%.
Hi, Jesus. You spoke about wanting to keep up momentum, reinforce the dynamic, but is it quite nice to have a break from the relentless championship?
I don't know, I'm not sure, because I think when you get the rhythm and the pace of that championship, it's difficult to rest and to restart after. So for me, they showed that they were able to play many games in a row, and it was tough, obviously, but they did it really well during this period. And now they are used to play this with this rhythm, so it could be useful for one or two players, we didn't have game time before, just to be connected with the team for that fixture, but we won't make many changes because of the rhythm we want to keep. Yeah, it's very clear for me.
And how do you balance it? Because the championship is so important when you're right in the mix for promotion. We've talked about the FA Cup is important. How do you manage it? You might not want to risk certain players. How do you manage that team selection?
We don't think too much about the risk because I think they are robust and ready to play. Probably it's a good option for us good opportunity to us for the injured players or one or two players who didn't play too much, only the end of the game, to start a game, for example, maybe for one or two of them. Yeah.
And you've spoken a bit about January, potential incomings, outgoings. Can you just give us a bit of an insight as to what it's like as a manager in this period, managing all these games, but is your phone going all the time? Are you having lots of meetings? How does the transfer side of it work in amongst the day-to-day?
And for me, my main job is really focus on the team. And when we have many games in a row like that, it's 100% around the team. And now we are lucky because we don't have to make many changes for the team. So it's just a question of 2 or 3 profiles, different specific profiles. And the team of recruitment is working hard here. So we defined together before the transfer window what were the profile required for the team. And I think we were clear. So now they can give us footage about opportunities, and I can watch this footage, say yes, I can go further, or no, not the style expected. And then after we can have meetings to confirm or to discuss about one specific player. So probably the next month will be a little bit lighter about the games because we'll have only 1 week with 2 games. So have more time to discuss about these profiles.
Thank you.
Hi, Rajiv. You've mentioned there of some players who could play and some players who maybe might get a chance to play. In that respect, could it actually be quite a useful fixture for you, this, to give people a chance to get games?
Yes, it's still useful, but as I said just before, we want to reinforce the dynamic. So if you are too far from dynamic, we only have 4 months to go. So it's a very short period, and we have to be very efficient. So every single minute are really important. And for the players who are a little bit further from that project, they have to wait. And maybe next season they will have another opportunity. But right now, it's a small group and really connected with the main purpose of making the best season as possible.
I realise, of course, that they're not to be involved this weekend, but just haven't asked for a while. How are Romain and Tommy doing on their recovery?
We have to wait maybe around 3 or 4 more weeks. Yeah.
The other thing, you altered the formation successfully over the past couple of games. Do you think that can be a benefit to you and the group, knowing that is another thing that you can do?
But what exactly?
But right, obviously you played with 2 strikers instead, and just knowing that you are able to switch to a slightly different way of playing.
Yeah, this was an interesting period because we started with one system, only one, and I think it was very important to manage the different ideas around one ideas, but different experiences around this idea. And I think we did well for 6 months, and then we had to find another solution because we only had two midfielders and one specific winger, and we had to create something else. And I think it was a good idea because the style of the team is really connected with fast attacks. So with 2 fast players in this part of the pitch, we can reinforce that idea. And I think the first goal, the only goal against Portsmouth was a good example of that. So it's a good option for us, but still useful because we know now we can play in that, with that structure, and we can be very efficient.
Regis, you went out of the League Cup early on back in the summer. Obviously, you won't want that to happen again in the FA Cup. What experiences did you learn from that loss back in Preston?
I think it was a different moment of the season because it was still the beginning, and I wanted to assess all the players. So it was very useful, a competitive game, an official game, because it's still a friendly game. You can win, you can lose. That doesn't matter. Here it was really clear that we wanted to win, but it was difficult because Preston was a good team. And now it's different because we are not at the same stage, and I know the players, and we have a specific purpose, and it's a different moment. So I think I'll manage the situation differently.
Do you think you have a deep enough squad and a strong enough squad to compete at the top of the Championship and also go far into the FA Cup?
The competition is very high, so probably we'll have a good competition against Stoke tomorrow, but not tomorrow, on Saturday. But after you can face with a Premier League club, so it's more a challenge than something we know that the competition will be so high that it's difficult to go until the end. But for the players, I think if we can face with different challenges, you can feed their experience, and after it's like a dream to go further. But we'll see.
And because of who you're linked to in the transfer market, is that showing that the club is perhaps planning for next season as well as the current season as well, in terms of signing a player that can get you up from the Championship and also then compete in the Premier League if you were to get there?
Yes, the first idea is to be focused on the Championship and the end of the Championship. After, if it's possible to find a player with this ability to be competitive in the Premier League, it's better. But the main focus is really the next 4 months.